So going into the hardware store, it can be a little intimidating, especially if you don't know what you're looking for and all these tools. So leading up to Father's Day, or just in general too. We have Ryan Thompson, builder and developer, back on the show. I always love when Ryan's on the show because you bring like that perspective for the everyday person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just trying to do the DIYs around the house. And you brought some items on the table that you think are important, that you need to have.
Yeah.
Are essentials.
Exactly.
Before we get to, I look at these tools. I have some of these tools. I don't have them all. I think the most important one on the table is, well, tape measure is pretty obvious. Tape measure is probably the main one. That wasn't what I was going for until I actually saw it. I'm going to go with the impact drill.
Okay.
What's your take? What do you think? You think that's the most important thing? Because that is going to get the most use around the house?
That's going to get the most use. And this one specifically, where it's an impact drill driver, meaning that you can drill with it, you can attach your drill bits to it as well. The cross functionality of this tool is definitely the most important one.
Okay, so then how do you know if it's an impact driver or not?
Okay, so you see how the bits go in, like that, right at that tip. That's going to show you that it's an impact driver. Whereas a drill bit, I mean, most people are familiar with the drill bit. You got to kind of crank it to get your bits in. Whereas
most
this
drills
bit
are impact drivers these days?
So most drills are not impact drivers, and the reason why the impact driver is good too is because it has more torque, right? It has more power, and when a bit gets resistance, you'll hear that clicking sound, right?
So then you know if you're, especially with drywall or anything like that.
Exactly.
Okay, next, where do you think the most important is? Where are you going to go?
I would go with the miter.
You're going bigger. Okay,
I'll go with the miter.
Okay, why miter saw?
So the miter saw allows you to cut on angles, bevels, we're not even really showing it, but it can move all these different directions, very cross-functional. So, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I know you got some B-roll going too that said that we're.
Yeah. So the miter saw is a big one for a lot of different trim. If you're doing any wall trim, any angled cuts, any flooring.
But that can be intimidating for somebody that's not used to having a big saw like that.
And these come in different sizes. So you see this, we have like a 6-inch blade on here, but you can get ones that go up to 12, right? So that's again why I brought that. I use that. It's really handy for, again, the smaller trim work that you have to do.
What about skill saw?
Okay,
I got one of these.
Circular saw, it's a good option if you don't have a table saw, right? You can still make a lot of cuts. Not as intimidating, I would think, as compared to a table saw.
You always have to be careful, you know what I mean? Anytime the saw.
I know, and that's why I took off those batteries, Tim, because I know exactly what Tim's about to do. That's why.
There you go. Yeah, you have to be careful. Everything's battery powered now, right? And then we've talked about this before on the show. Like they're all interchangeable too, right? The batteries.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get corded ones too as well. Again, I have the cordless version. Just when I'm on this job site, it's nice to be able to just move around freely.
What's that guy?
Laser level. Okay, the laser level, simple as hanging pictures. Gallery walls are a big thing. You can use the laser level, get all your pictures in a row. It's really a great guide. And then also, if we're talking about trim, there's a lot of different wall trims. I don't even know if I want to say it's a trend. I think it's kind of here to stay, where people are doing.
And sometimes older homes are not square. Their walls are not square, so it's hard to kind of follow them. You want to kind of make it your own, and then make up the difference elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Sander.
Sander's good for, this is really a big DIY tool in this type of sander too, where if you have furniture you're trying to refurbish, any metal you need to sand, any wood you need to sand, it's a nice handy tool, compact tool for a lot of those home DIY.
Expensive?
No, this is less than $100. This sander.
And you're using different brands here too. Cobalt is a brand, DeWalt is a brand. There's no brand association here, right? You just kind of go and find the good price. Like all tools are.
I go to Rona, and they have all the options there. And so, that was the idea. Was just kind of show people, because it can be intimidating when you go into the store. You're seeing all these brands, you're seeing all these tools.
Shout out to my dad, because we were doing some work around my place, and I did not have a nail gun.
Yeah.
And he brought it, and we were doing trim. Yeah. So it's like, is this necessary to have? Like, if you're doing some bigger jobs, or have a dad that has one? Tell them to bring it.
And so again, this is a cordless version. They have versions that are corded, of course, and then they have versions that if you have a compressor, you can hook it up to a compressor as well. But whichever one you have, you're gonna want a nail gun, right? This is all essentials.
Okay, so if you're looking for something for dad, and maybe if he doesn't have the impact driver, that would be one, and then Yeah. Oh, tape measure, probably another important one. But just some really good options. Good stuff, Ryan. Good seeing you, buddy.
You
okay,
too.
we'll see you the next time. More Morning Live coming up on your Friday. After this.